We made it to Japan. Right now, we're walking through Shinjuku Gyoen Garden. It's a national garden in the Tokyo area. It's really pretty so far. We were just in there looking across a pond with some fish and just a very relaxing way to start the trip. We got in at around 4:35 p.m. yesterday, but that is definitely the longest flight I've ever taken. And I think I was pretty well prepared for it. I felt okay, but we were exhausted by the time we got to where we're staying here in Shinjuku, which is a part of Tokyo. Yeah, I would definitely recommend just try to set yourself up so that you can go to bed as soon as possible. We did have dinner at around 7 p.m. last night and then just showered and went to bed. I actually kind of fell asleep before taking a shower, and then my husband woke me up and was like, take a shower. But it's so pretty around here. It's very clean, the city so far. We've walked mainly around Shinjuku, but we're only gonna be in Tokyo for another 2 days because we're not really city people. I mean, this has been kind of the case for me for a long time. Almost every major city that I've traveled to, I haven't really enjoyed. So we're gonna spend most of this Japan trip in Kyoto and Okinawa. But of course, we flew into Tokyo and it's been pretty nice so far. Now you get my narration for the rest of this video. So here we are walking down Omaide Yokocho, which is kind of like this little alleyway in the Shinjuku area that has a bunch of vendors. Here's my husband with the translation app always on deck because he was responsible for ordering food since we don't speak Japanese. And we just wanted to live like locals. So just a typical day in Tokyo. We forgot how popular baseball is in Japan, so we decided to go a couple rounds in the batting cage. Here's my husband getting some nice line drives. And then I decided to throw a couple of pitches, see how my aim is. Not too shabby, but not all of them hit the target directly. But they consider it a strike, so I do too. And our next stop was to Mount Fuji. We ended up taking a bus and a taxi to Mount Fuji. And this is our private ryokan. Ryokans are traditional Japanese inns. So this one is a private one where we kind of had our own private suite. And this is the upstairs bedroom area with everything automatic. What I love about Japanese architecture or just structures and even design is even though it's modern and clean lines, it still feels very warm. And here's another view of Mount Fuji. This place had a beautiful view of the mountain in every room. Me taking the snacks because your girl's pregnant, so of course had to get the snacks. And then downstairs was the main dining area. That's my husband's reaction to a little sticker shock.
Also like the service too.
But like he said, the service was impeccable. As soon as we got there, we had a 6-course dinner that we loved. The food was so good. And then in the morning, we had an incredible breakfast. I love how they eat so much fish and warm, savory foods for breakfast. And again, with a view of Mount Fuji. And this was the main bathroom downstairs. I love how it's set up. There's me vlogging with my big 8-month belly. And I love how most Japanese households, they have the shower and the bathtub separate so that you shower first before taking a bath. And this bathtub in particular had an amazing view of Mount Fuji. You can't really see it from the trees, but we could see it clearly. And our next stop was to take our first bullet train to Kyoto. I absolutely loved Kyoto. I might have to agree with my husband. He says that it's his favorite city in the world, and it's definitely my top 3. So here we are. We got dressed up in kimonos with a geisha organization in Kyoto, and we stayed in the geisha district because that's where the majority of the temples are. I really wanted to stay here because I wanted to see all of the Buddhist temples and have a little bit more of a spiritual journey in Kyoto because when I decided to stop studying the Abrahamic religions, I got into Buddhism. So this was very nice to walk around town in our traditional garb. My husband joined in as well. And before the night that we got here, I didn't take a lot of footage, but we did a geisha walking tour. So we kind of knew where to go the rest of our time in Kyoto, which was amazing. Then we went back for a tea ceremony where a real geisha taught us how to make matcha the correct way. So here I am making it the right way with a certain whisking technique, which maybe I'll do another video on that. And I will never make matcha the same again. I absolutely loved it. And this little dessert, I didn't know how to eat, so I just put it completely in my mouth. I think you're supposed to take little bites, so my bad. And then finally, we had a lovely, ended the evening with a performance from a real active geisha. We were able to ask her all the questions, and somebody infamously asked her, "Are you a prostitute?" during the question and answer, which honestly was a good question because I feel like geishas have a misconception of being prostitutes or escorts. The reason why they got that reputation was because I forget exactly what war, but hundreds and hundreds of years ago when the Mongols were taking over Japan, a lot of geishas had to resort to prostitution in order to survive. So that stigma never really left them, but they are not prostitutes. They are entertainers. You can learn so much from them. I think that they're so beautiful and elegant. Maybe I'll do another video on what I learned from the geisha. And here we are enjoying some more food in Kyoto. I love how the majority of the setups, whether it's something more informal like this or formal like the next restaurant I'll show you, it's always behind the counter. And I was always relaxing between meals and walking around because I was 8 months pregnant, taking baths, trying to live as slow and enjoy everything as possible because little man was moving around a lot in there. But thankfully, I only had swelling in my feet maybe the first day or two of the trip, and then I was fine the rest of the time. Here's us going to a Michelin star restaurant that was attached to a hotel in Kyoto for some traditional Kobe beef and Wagyu beef because that's what they're known for in Kyoto in particular. So the food was amazing. But of course, next stop is Osaka Airport. We did take a bullet train. I forgot to take a video of that. And this is us getting food from a robot before we head to Okinawa. We spent the last full week of our trip in Japan in Okinawa because we really just wanted to relax. And also, it is considered a blue zone with one of the most concentrated amounts of people that live over 100. So we had to go to a place that's popular for serving a longevity meal. I forget what the place is called, but I'll put it in the description below. And this was a plant-based meal that a lot of Okinawans eat. Not all of them are plant-based or vegan, but the majority of their diet, I would say, is plant-based. And it had a beautiful view of the ocean. But we mainly spent time just walking around, just enjoying the beach, relaxing. We did end up going to this like a mega spa in Okinawa as well, but I forgot to take footage of that. And we spent a lot of time at our Airbnb because, just look at the view. So beautiful, so much clear blue water. It was about to be stormy that day, and it still looked super clear, bright blue. So didn't want to leave, but it was a beautiful trip to say the least.